I clocked out of the lab at exactly 10:58 p.m., dead on time. My name's Jenna, sophomore biology major, and finals week had me unplugged and buried in Petri dishes for hours. Too many late nights, too little sleep, and my brain felt like overcooked spaghetti. I needed a break, somewhere to breathe before trudging back to my dorm. The coffee shop on Main Street stayed open until midnight. A lifeline. Edison bulbs, lo-fi beats, chipped mugs, decor with personality. I pushed the door open at 11:03 p.m. The barista gave me a tired smile, took my order. Matcha latte, my go-to brain fuel. I tucked into a booth by the back window, laptop out, earbuds in, and tried to unwind. There were 3 other people in the place, the barista wiping tables, a couple whispering over a shared brownie, and a man 2 tables over, late 30s, ball cap, oversized coat. No drink, no laptop, just sat there staring. I barely registered him at first, but then I did. His gaze was fixed, on me. I tried focusing on my screen, rewatching lecture videos on cell mitosis. Keep breathing. Don't let him disturb your focus. Coffee in hand, I felt eyes drilling into me. My skin went tight. I shifted position. He tipped his head, didn't blink. I packed my stuff quietly, plugging my laptop closed with shaky hands, slung my jacket over my arm. I stood, pretended to check messages, and slipped out. The bell above the door clicked behind me. Inside, the barista hesitated, looked at the man, then back to wiping a table. No question asked. My heart roared at my ears as I stepped into the cool night air and started walking home. I took the well-lit streets, Main Street, Elm, then Cedar. It was almost midnight, mostly safe, but any suspicious still hits harder in that dark hour. I breathed in cold air, matcha latte gone, tip jar jingles echoing in my head, happy to be out. A few blocks later, I felt it. Soft footstep, out of time with the night. I froze, glanced over my shoulder, empty sidewalk. My breath hit the air in white puffs. I started walking again, faster. My phone buzzed with texts from friends. I ignored them, focused on each footstep. A block down, heavier footstep behind me. Same rhythm as mine, stepping on pavement, mirroring pace. I slowed. So did the footsteps. I crossed the street. They crossed with me. My stomach lurched. Normally, I'd walk home in sneakers, arms swinging, confident. Tonight, I hugged my jacket tighter, phone at the ready, unlocked, pepper spray in pocket. I turned the corner onto Ridge Avenue. The parking garage entrance loomed, metal doors, dim lights. Familiar shortcut. I slipped inside and pressed against the door. It locked. The stairwell smelled of metal and stale air. My heartbeat thudded in my ears. Through the metal grating, I saw his shadow pass slowly. He stopped, stayed there. 20 minutes he waited. I could feel his presence like a coiled thing outside waiting for me to break. I stood frozen, phone flashlight on, pepper spray in my hand. I told myself not to run. Let him go. Don't give him what he wants. Eventually, he moved on. The footsteps faded. I waited 10 more minutes. Then I texted my friend. "Hey, can I crash at yours tonight?" Within 5 minutes. "Yes, come on over." Relief hit me like warm blankets. I crashed at Hannah's apartment that night. She lived 3 blocks away. Her door opened and I snapped. He followed me. No filters, no calm, covered in layers, shaking. She hugged me tight. "It's okay." Cozy apartment felt too small and safe, perfect for staying put. I slept on the couch, earphones in, but I didn't sleep. My brain wouldn't stop replaying footsteps, the cafe eyes, the empty latte table. Next morning, Hannah made us scrambled eggs and toast. We talked, careful words, laughter, distractions. I recapped the events, voice still raw. She didn't judge. She took me back to the cafe. In daylight, she measured the distance, maybe 2 tables away. "Like 8, 10 feet?" she said. "But that's terrifying, Jenna." I nodded. I felt stupid. I didn't call campus security that night. He didn't grab me or say anything, but he made me feel hunted. That counts, I told myself. I made a plan. No more late solo walks. Walk with friends, avoid Main Street after 11, carry pepper spray, vary my route. Hannah added, make a police report. I hemmed. No evidence, no attack. But she pushed. They can check cameras. At least you tried. That night, I walked back to my dorm with another friend beside me, pepper spray in hand. Felt safer, but not safe. I avoided that cafe like the plague. Every time I passed by, I looked through the window. No empty coat, no ball cap, just mugs and chips. But my spine stiffened. 2 tables away. Days passed. Finals week hit hard. I spent hours in the cafe again. But at 3 p.m., midday crowds. Safe. I ordered chamomile tea, sat near the counter. I let the barista know quietly about that night, and she shook her head. We saw him too, she said. He was regular, like he waited all night. I took a deep breath. At least I wasn't imagining it. My roommate Maya sideswiped me with questions. I wanted to shrug it off. All good? I said. She didn't look convinced. Night walks with friends happened, group chats about pepper spray and safe routes. I learned how fear travels. Friends got uneasy. Moms texted, call me when you get there. The watchful eyes of a worried small town. But something changed in me. I realized fear reshapes you. You notice shadows now. You watch for footstep echoes. You measure distances. You brace for him. Whoever him is. I didn't want to live afraid, but I couldn't pretend it never happened. A month later, finals ended. I took a break from evening walks. I applied to the campus night watch volunteer crew. Training starts next week. I told the campus safety office what happened. No arrests, no evidence, but I felt honest, brave. I walked into the cafe again, afternoon light, crisp air, no ball cap stare across from me. I ordered a matcha latte. The barista handed it over with a quiet nod, compassion in gesture. I met his eyes, every patron's eyes, none of them him. I squeezed the cup. The warmth reminded me, fear doesn't have to rule, but vigilance, awareness, they can be survival tools. Fear isn't just about what happened, it's how it changes you. Trust your instincts. Speak up, even without proof. Build safety nets. Friends, routines, awareness. You deserve to walk free, even in the dark. I've never liked parties, not the loud kind anyway. The music, the small talk, the pressure to look like you're having the time of your life, it exhausts me. My name's Lily. I'm 25, live alone in a small apartment in Portland, and I work as a junior designer at a print shop downtown. I like quiet corners, slow Sunday mornings, and people who don't mind silence. So when my friends offered to throw me a birthday brunch, I made it clear. Nothing big. Just us, 4 of my closest people, at that cozy cafe with the brick walls and the hanging plants. We'd been going there since college. We knew which corner got the best light and which table you had to snag early to claim it. We got there around 10. Jess brought her old Polaroid camera, the one with the scratched lens. Nate brought pancakes stacked like a tower and folded a napkin into a bow tie because he said birthdays deserved formality. It was perfect in that small, homemade kind of way. At some point, I noticed a man sitting alone across the cafe, older than us, probably late 40s, reading a book. I only noticed because he wasn't doing anything else. No drink in front of him, no phone, just watching, sometimes. I mentioned it to Jess in passing, whispering, "Do you know him?" She glanced, shook her head, and made a joke about how every Portland cafe had at least one mysterious loner. We stayed almost 2 hours, laughed, passed around old texts from our group chat, took photos, some on the Polaroid, some on phones. The man left at some point, I think. I didn't really notice. There was too much noise, too much good energy. Nothing felt wrong at the time, but the next morning, something changed. It was early, maybe 7:30 a.m. when I grabbed the mail on my way out for work. There was one envelope in the box, no return address, no stamp, just my name, written in all caps, clean handwriting. I opened it while waiting at the bus stop. Inside were 3 photos printed on glossy paper. The first showed me blowing out candles, mouth puckered, eyes shut. The second was a hug between me and Jess, our faces half laughing. The third was different. It had the man from the cafe, head turned slightly, as if he was in motion. His face was blurred, not from editing, just from movement. The photos weren't ours. None of us had taken them. They were taken from outside the cafe window, through the glass. The angle was slightly high, like someone was standing just across the street. They were distant, but clear enough. It made my skin crawl. I didn't tell anyone right away. I spent the rest of the day distracted, checking the street behind me too often. I texted Jess that night. Me. Did you take any pics of me blowing out candles? Jess. Not really. Maybe one. Why? I didn't answer. By the time I got home, I had checked my locks twice. I took the photos back to the cafe the next day. It felt dumb walking in with a manila envelope like I was delivering legal documents. I showed them to one of the baristas, a guy I vaguely recognized but didn't know by name. Do you remember him? I asked, pointing to the blurred face. He leaned in, then shrugged. Doesn't ring a bell, but it was busy Saturday. Might have just been someone reading. I asked if they kept receipts. They did, but not for long. Nothing under his name. No drink ordered. The manager checked the table logs. He was never officially there. They had no camera outside, and the side street had none either. The cafe faced a narrow street with tall shrubs, mostly residential houses. You could sit in a parked car and stare at the windows, and no one would think twice. On the way home, I walked faster than usual. I stopped checking my phone mid-walk, just scanned corners and parked cars instead. When I got to my apartment, I didn't open the blinds. I didn't answer texts that night. People don't realize how fast a normal day becomes something else. How quickly a photo, one you never posed for, can take the wind out of your lungs. 2 weeks passed. I didn't throw out the photos. I kept them in a drawer, like that would somehow give me control over them. My friends still hadn't received anything. Just me. And then, a second envelope came. Same handwriting, same plain paper, no stamp. Slid into my mailbox again. It only had one photo this time. It showed me leaving the cafe the day I brought in the first set of pictures. I was holding the envelope, looking back over my shoulder, probably at traffic, but in the image, it looked like I was being watched. I called Jess. She said, "You need to go to the police." I told her, "He hasn't done anything." She didn't say what we were both thinking, yet. I filed a report. They were polite, took my statement, logged the photos, said they'd patrol my street more often. I got a deadbolt installed, bought blackout curtains, didn't go out alone for a while. I thought a lot about that corner booth, the way people just come and go, sit next to you, watch, and we never think twice. It's been 8 months. Nothing else came. No more envelopes, no more photos, no sign of him. But I still feel it, like something's sitting just behind the glass waiting. I moved apartments in April, higher floor, no direct street view. I threw away the Polaroids. I deleted most pictures of that day. Jess offered to recreate the party this year. Something chill, just a backyard brunch. I told her no. I wasn't ready. I still go to cafes, but I don't sit near the window anymore. I bring headphones. I watch people more closely. I watch how they move, how long they stay, if they're pretending to read. I wish I could say I'm not afraid anymore. But I am, and maybe that's okay. Sometimes fear doesn't come from what someone does. It comes from what they're capable of. Trust your gut. Be cautious with what you dismiss as nothing. And when your boundaries feel crossed, you're allowed to draw the line, even if it's just a photo through glass. I never thought I'd be That mom. The one everyone secretly judges in coffee shops. The one whose tone cracked just a bit too sharp over pancakes and preschoolers. I'm Marissa, 38, married, working full-time at an HR firm in Sacramento, and mom to my teenage daughter Ellie and younger sister's kid. Actually, 2 little girls by now. Ellie is 15, private, moody, typical teen storms. But lately she's been more distant. She barely speaks unless she has to, picks at her food, and retreats straight to her room after school. So when the kids' soccer cleared out Sunday morning, I told them we deserved pancakes. A treat. But inside me a pressure snapped. I wanted something more than tension at the table. The cafe was full of families. Crayons, spilled apple juice, laughter bouncing off maroon booths. I ordered pumpkin spice pancakes. The girls clambered into the booth. Ellie sat at the end, arms crossed. The whole place felt like a politeness trap. When the food arrived, Ellie sighed loud enough for me to hear. I asked her what was wrong. She shrugged, shuffled her plate. I tried again. A little sharper. She shot back. An eye roll, a clipped sentence about me acting like she's 9. My tone rose before I even realized. Can you just be present for one meal? Instant regret. That was my line. Something I'd been thinking, not saying. Now said, sharp concrete. Ellie's face fell. The younger one glared. I drew a breath and softened. I'm sorry, but it felt hollow. We left quickly. I watched her shoulders slump as we walked out. As we got in the car, I could see her texting, trying to hide it. My stomach knotted. Back at home, the quiet sealed in the silence. I replayed it. I thought about what else I'd been short with her over the last months. I thought about how even if she's moody, she deserves me, present and patient, not just trying. I went to bed early. Next morning, I woke up and thought, maybe I could do better. But the next thing I saw nearly broke me. Monday at work, I brewed coffee, half listening to a client call when I saw the unread email blinking in my inbox. Subject line: maybe parenting isn't your thing. No name, no return address. I hesitated before opening it, then did. Inside was a video clip. Grainy, handheld from outside, a shot of me and Ellie having our breakfast argument. My words, my face. It ended on Ellie's hard look, pain clear as day. I sat frozen. Someone filmed us. My mind raced. At the cafe. How? There were so many windows, a patio outside, street parking. Someone could have been just across the street. I grabbed my phone and texted my coworker, Sarah. Something weird. We'll explain. She replied, whoa, what if? Later. I closed the laptop fast. Kept working, but felt like my skin was thin. My hands shook when I'd reach for coffee. I couldn't stop staring at the screen, even though I knew I shouldn't. I deleted the email from my inbox, erased it from the trash. What if whoever sent it knows? What if she's being watched again? I texted Ellie. Everything okay? She didn't respond. I left work early. Not official leave, just called in sick. I spent the afternoon pacing at home, replaying that clip in my head. When the other kids got home, I handed them snacks and forced a smile, but all I could think was, who filmed me? Who sent this? I spent the night sleepless. Locked the doors twice, checked window latches. My family watched me anxiously with questions I didn't want to answer. Finally, I said aloud, Someone sent us a video. They stared. None of them had a clue. I nodded at my phone. The blue dot of the unread message. I swallowed hard. We need to find out who. They nodded, scared but committed. Over the next week, I received 2 more emails, both anonymous. One about my sweater color, another about the girls' food choices. Your kids like blueberry muffins, not banana. Why not ask them? I stared at that for a long time. Blackberry muffin preferences. I'd said blueberry muffins at the cafe that morning. Out loud. Only once. To the barista. Not something I say in public. Not something that a stranger might realistically know unless they were listening and taking notes. Riley, my coworker, overheard me talking about it. "They're letting you target women who mom wrong, and no details to mess with your head," she said, eyebrow raised. "You know those psycho profiles where they watch? This feels like that." She didn't judge but offered help. Screen capture everything, record emails, and go to the police. I did. I took screenshots. I noted timestamps. I called the cafe. No cameras outside. No ID for a suspicious person. Called police. Non-urgent harassment report. They said with no threats or direct communication they couldn't escalate it. But they took my statement. Anxiety grew. I moved my desk away from the window, changed phone, set up a camera on my front driveway, bought blackout curtains for my bedroom. I talked to the girls. "Heads up, Mom is taking care of some personal stuff." They nodded, a bit confused, but I wasn't going to lie. Not yet. Still, every morning I check my inbox first, heart hammering until I see nothing new yet, not out of the woods. But each email hurts. Each word's second-handed cruelty cuts deep, but only if I let it. Then I got the final message. Short and brutal. "You're not invisible just because you're inside." It felt like a threat, not a promise, but a line. Someone watching, waiting. I couldn't hide if I wanted to. I told the girls we're moving schools across town. We'll be closer to work, safer, maybe a fresh start, some haze over this. We packed boxes that weekend. The girls joked, tried to keep things bright, easy, but I saw their eyes shoot toward every window. They heard me check locks at night. Ellie asked quietly, "Are they still watching us?" I said softly, "Maybe. But we're leaving now." At the cafe, I didn't go back. I emailed them a quick note. "Thank you. Please don't sit near my girls anymore." I blocked their addresses. Tried not to wonder if they'd just toss another phone, another address, and start again. We've been in the new house 2 months now. The drive has a camera. The front door has a keypad. The windows don't face any public sidewalk. I deleted old emails and closed the anonymous inbox. I changed phone numbers 2 more times. I teach the kids boundaries. Don't talk to strangers, don't overshare in public. I reinforce, we have a unit, we belong to each other, and to no one else. We set morning check-ins, late-night exits with snacks and kisses. It's homeschooled at heart, not in paperwork. Safety is a practice. Trust, vigilance, awareness, they're part of everyday life now. I still catch myself logging into email after midnight. I still glance at the driveway camera before falling asleep. But I feel more in control. And I know. Boundaries are not burden, they're survival. Privacy isn't optional, it's a right you fight for. When subtle surveillance creeps into your life, speak up, act early, and protect your space. Reshaping fear isn't about hiding, it's about reclaiming control. Most days started the same. 4:30 alarm, 20-minute walk, and the sound of the city before it really wakes up. Streetlights flickering, the occasional siren, my own boots echoing on empty sidewalks. I was 26, working mornings at a 24-hour coffee place across from St. Michael's Regional in Denver. Not glamorous, but it kept the lights on most of the time. The shop smelled like burnt beans and lemon cleaner. I ran the opening shift 5 days a week. Me, the espresso machine, and whatever mess the night crew left behind. I didn't mind. The rhythm kept me sane. I was saving for my GED, scraping tips for bus fare, living in a studio with more leaks than insulation. My little brother was in and out of rehab, and our dad? Gone a long time ago. Some mornings, all I could think about was quitting. But rent don't care about feelings, so I kept showing up. That's where I met Laura. She was an ICU nurse. Late 30s, walked in every morning at 7:12 on the dot, wearing scrubs and this haunted, done-for-the-day look. She'd order a large drip, oat milk, 2 pumps of caramel, never smiled the first few times. I didn't push it. Then one day I made her coffee and said, "You look like you saw the end of the world last night." She blinked, then laughed. Not a happy laugh, but the kind where someone's surprised they still can. After that, she started talking. Not much at first, just small stuff. Bad traffic, weird patients, short-staffed again. But it kept growing. Some mornings she sat at the counter, just sipping and unloading. I listened. What else was I gonna do? She didn't want advice. She just wanted someone to care. And maybe I needed that too. One morning she walked in with her shoulders slumped like someone had dropped weights on her. Her face looked hollow. I slid her drink over, same as always. "You okay?" "No," she said. "Not even a little." She sat down. I kept wiping the counter, keeping half an eye on the register and the other on her. She stared into her coffee like she was trying to see the bottom of something deeper. "I caught him again," she said. "Third time." I paused. "My husband," she added. New name, different woman, same look in his eyes when I asked. I didn't know what to say, so I said what I always do. "Damn, I'm sorry." She nodded, eyes red but not crying. "My mom doesn't remember me anymore. I go see her and she thinks I'm the nurse, calls me Marcy. I just play along." I poured her a refill without asking. She thanked me with a glance. Then she said, "A 7-year-old coded on my table last night. We got him back for 2 minutes. And then, nothing." I leaned against the sink, coffee towel still in my hands. It's like I walk around with all this weight, and everyone expects me to just clock out and be fine. There was a line of orders stacking up. My coworker had called in sick, again. I was the only one on bar and register, but I stayed for one more moment. "You want me to listen or distract you?" She looked up and said, "Just remember my name tomorrow. That's enough." Weeks passed. Every morning, same drink, same seat. I'd nod, she'd sit. It became a quiet routine, comfortable even. Then the burnout hit me. I was doing doubles, sleeping 4 hours a night, chasing bills I couldn't catch. My brother had gone missing again. My texts went unread. Rent was late. I was crashing emotionally and couldn't afford to let anyone notice. So I pulled back. Not on purpose at first. I just stopped asking follow-up questions, stopped checking in. I'd hand Laura her coffee with a tired "here you go" and keep it moving. She noticed. One morning she stood there a second longer than usual. I didn't look up, just typed in the next order. "You used to ask," she said. "Huh? You used to care, Ray." I blinked. "I'm just tired. I've got 20 tickets in the queue." She didn't say anything else. Just grabbed her drink and walked out. Didn't come back the next day, or the day after that. On Friday, Andrew, the manager, called me into the back. "Got a customer complaint, emotional coldness, unwelcoming behavior." I didn't ask who, I knew. "Corporate flagged it," he said. "You're on thin ice, man." I nodded, didn't argue. What could I say? He wasn't wrong. The fallout came quick. My hours were cut. I couldn't make rent. Ended up sleeping on my sister's couch. Again. Her husband barely hid the annoyance in his eyes. And yet, Laura came back. Same drink, same time. She didn't say a word, just stood there while I made it. We locked eyes once. Neither of us flinched. Some days I wanted to explain, tell her I wasn't ignoring her because I didn't care. I just didn't have the energy. I was trying to stay afloat myself. But I didn't say it, because sometimes silence is easier than risking the wrong words. Then one day, after weeks of nothing, I finally said it. "Rough night?" She smiled. "Just barely. Still rough," she said, grabbing her cup. "But thanks for asking." A few months later, I asked to be transferred to another shop across town. Slower pace, less drama, fewer ghosts. I still work early shifts, still pour the same bad coffee into the same tired cups. But every now and then, I think about her. Laura. The way she carried the weight of dying children and a crumbling marriage and an eroding identity. All while the rest of us asked if she wanted a receipt. And me? I was just a guy behind the counter trying not to drown. And still, I mattered to her. For a while. She needed more than coffee. I didn't realize that until I had nothing left to give. Everyone is carrying something, sometimes way more than they show. A kind word, a pause, a name remembered. It can be more than small talk. But we also have to recognize our own limits. You can't pour from an empty cup, not even in a coffee shop. I let myself in at exactly 7:27 a.m. The front door's squeak is the first sound of my shift. I'm Taylor, barista at this cozy cafe outside Minneapolis. Edison bulbs, mismatched chairs, Fleetwood Mac covers, basic indie chic vibe. Usually I'm pumped to make lattes. Lately, doesn't feel that way. Flu season hit us hard. 2 coworkers quit cold, one after another. Morale tanked. The boss is scrambling. That's when Dean showed up. He's maybe 21, barely unemployed college kid type. Scruffy flannel shirts, beat-up Converse, stuck in the cool coffee hanger stereotype. He nailed espresso shots, pulled the perfect shot in record time. Manager's dream come true. I clocked in at 7:45 and there he was, wiping counters, filling syrups, jumping into random tasks, always volunteering. We were grateful at first. Work got smoother. Until it didn't. 2 weeks in, Riley and I noticed him lingering. He'd clean behind the espresso machine but stare, like watching reflections, maybe watching people. Riley caught him outside once, pretending to be on a call, scanning the parking lot. Creepy, I whispered. Maybe he thinks he's subtle? Subtle like a foghorn, Riley said. He wasn't overtly creepy, just uncomfortable to be around. Friendly, but something about how he watched customers felt wrong, especially when women came in. He was awkwardly nice too, asked about nodding dogs walking by, tried small talk about a new Fleetwood Mac single cover. It was like he wanted connection but didn't know how to do it right. I asked him straight on a slow day, "Dean, you cool?" "Yeah, just like the place," he replied. "Okay." I should have dropped it, but curiosity got the best of me. Something was off. That day still haunts me. Riley and I were wiping down tables around 9 p.m. The place was empty, chairs upside down. He walked out of the women's bathroom and laughed like it was a joke. I nearly knocked over a chair. "I thought it was unisex," he said, smirking. "Dude, that's the women's room," I said. He shrugged. "Mistakes happen." Manager overheard, gave him a warning. No consequences beyond that. After closing cleaning drains, I caught him lingering near the back door at midnight. No jacket, barefoot on the cold tile. "Heading home?" I asked. He touched the door handle, sighed, planning to. He paused, then walked off. The night felt colder after that. It all fell apart when I caught the smell. Cleaning supply closet near the kitchen, the door hit with rotting bread stench. I texted Riley. "Closet smells like a dead thing." Maintenance came late that night, flashlight in hand. Next morning he showed us pictures. A sleeping bag, moldy pastry wrappers, a duffel bag soaked through. Someone was living in the attic crawl space. The security footage from 1 to 3 a.m. backed it up. Dean climbing down bare feet, walking to pastry case, sitting, staring into the darkness. We stared at the monitor logs, heartbeats loud. Him in our cafe like it was his bedroom. We shut down for half a day, sanitized everything, replaced locks. Manager sent team emails, no press release or any of that, just, we handled it. People quit right after. The staff count hit record lows. I hung in for 2 more weeks. On my last day, I brewed 1 final latte, cleaned the steam wand slower than usual. New hire, wide-eyed, asked, "Everything okay?" "Yeah," I said, but let her smile fade. "Just be aware everything isn't always what it seems." People can blend in perfectly, hiding dark stuff behind smiles and shift schedules. Trust your gut. If something feels off, check it. Speak up or ask questions. But don't forget your well-being matters too. Sometimes walking away is the strongest thing you can do. Hollow's End ain't on most maps. If it is, the name's smudged out under a coffee ring or the fold of a road atlas no one uses anymore. A blink of farmland in Kansas where the wind always feels like it's trying to say something you can't quite make out. I grew up there in the 90s, back when boredom was a living thing and trouble was its favorite toy. My name's Jesse Mercer. I'm 29 now, but this story's about the Halloween when I was 17. The year the pranks went too far. Dad had vanished by then. Folks said hunting accident, but I knew better. He had debts and bigger ghosts than deer in those woods. Mom worked double shifts at Dee's Diner just to keep us fed. That left me raising Cole, 12 years old, mouth full of mischief, and always 2 steps behind me trying to catch up. Then there was Old Man Hargrove. He lived alone out on Willow Creek Road in a house that looked ready to collapse under the weight of its secrets. A Vietnam vet with one eye, a limp, and a shotgun. He never quite pointed at you, but never quite didn't either. The stories around him grew like weeds, that he buried trespassers in his cornfield, that he kept bones in jars, that if you messed with him on Halloween, he'd find you before sunrise. Naturally, that made him our favorite target. It started back in '95. Me and Cole, dressed as skeletons, TP'd Hargrove's trees so bad it looked like the place got hit with a blizzard. Next year we upped the stakes, snuck into the butcher shop, snagged a bucket of pig's blood, and dumped it on his porch. In 1997, Hargrove struck back. Halloween morning we found a crow, dead, stiff, its black eyes still open, on our doorstep. A crumpled note tucked beneath its wing read, "Run." We didn't. That just set the stage for '98, the last prank, the year everything changed. October 31st fell on a Saturday. Sky was overcast, air sharp with that dry Kansas cold that smells like dirt and dying leaves. Cole met me by the silo behind Peterson's feed. He had his backpack slung low, grinning like the devil had whispered something just for him. "You sure about this?" I asked, watching the wind ripple across the soy fields. "We go out big, Jesse," he said. "Smoke bombs, the doll, the works." When we got to Hargrove's place, something was off. The house was decorated, orange lights, skeletons, a scarecrow with a plastic knife in its chest. "Since when does the bogeyman celebrate Halloween?" I muttered. Cole grinned. Maybe he's going soft. But something in my gut turned. The decorations didn't feel festive. They felt arranged, like a stage, waiting on actors. We crept up past the corn stalks, our shoes crunching over brittle husks. The air smelled like damp wood and rust. Then I saw it. A camera, bolted to the side of his shed, red light blinking. "Is that real?" Cole whispered. A hand-painted sign hung beneath it. "Trick or treat," misspelled, slanted. "This is wrong," I said. But Cole was already jogging toward the shed. "I'm faster. I'll do the doll drop." He disappeared behind the door before I could call him back. Seconds passed, then a minute. Then I heard it. Thump, scuff. Another thump. "Cole," I whispered, stepping closer. "Quit messing around." No answer. I circled the shed. Door was padlocked from the outside, but loose. Someone had just snapped it shut. I should have run, gotten help. But help was a mile of dirt road and bad luck away. So I did what older brothers do. I kicked in the back door. The house swallowed me whole. Smelled like mildew and cat piss. Furniture draped in dusty sheets. Ashtray still half full by the window like someone meant to come back and never did. Basement door stood wide open. Cold air slithered up the steps like breath from a tomb. I went down slow. Wood creaked. My own heart thudded louder than my footsteps. The basement walls were lined with yellowed newspaper clippings. Headlines about missing kids, alien abductions, satanic panic. A workbench sat dead center, covered in carving tools and hunks of wood shaped like children, arms twisted wrong, faces half done. And in the far corner, a cage, big enough for a kid. The dirt beneath it clawed up. Then, a giggle. I turned. Cole jumped from behind a post, doubled over laughing. You should have seen your face. My knees buckled. What the hell, man? Then I heard boots on stairs. Old man Hargrove appeared like a storm cloud. Tired eyes, greasy hair, holding a camcorder. Told you he'd fall for it, he said to Cole. You set me up? I asked. Cole looked at the floor. He paid me $20. I wanted to scream, cry, hit something, anything. Hargrove limped past me, muttering, Y'all been screwing with me for years. Figured I'd return the favor. I stared at the workbench. What about these? The cage? The clips? He snorted. Tabloids. UFO nonsense. Dolls are just for whittling. Cage was for my coon dog. Damn thing bit a preacher once. He shoved a VHS tape into my hand. Footage of your pranks. You ever come back? I mail this to the sheriff. We stood there a minute. Nobody spoke. He finally muttered, You're not the first punks to knock on my door, but you'll be the last. We left without another word. I didn't talk to Cole for weeks. Mom found out anyway. Hargrove mailed her the tape. She hit Cole so hard he didn't sit right for a week, then turned her rage on me. You're supposed to protect him, she yelled, not drag him into that crap. Cole stopped talking about pranks after that. Got quiet. Mean, sometimes. A few months later, Hargrove died. Heart gave out. They found over 200 letters in a box under his bed, all addressed to a daughter who never came home from Vietnam. Unopened, unsent. He never was a monster, just broken in ways nobody noticed. But I'll say this. He was right about one thing. We were the last kids to mess with him. Sometimes the scariest thing in a small town isn't the monsters. It's realizing they're just as broken as you. Fear can be a powerful mask. One we give others, and one they wear to survive. But behind every haunted house and town legend, there's usually a human story aching to be heard. Don't mistake pain for danger and never let cruelty wear the face of a joke. They say the prairies go quiet before winter really sets in. That all the noise of life hushes itself in preparation for the freeze. In Blackwater, Ontario, that silence came early. I'm Leah Calloway, 24 now. But back in the fall of 2016, I was just trying to keep my family's wheat farm from drying up like everything else in town. The mill had just closed. Half the families we grew up with were packing up or turning bitter. My dad, who used to be the kind of man that fixed everything with duct tape and diesel, had been dragging one leg and popping painkillers since the tractor rolled and shattered his knee. My mom took night shifts at the truck stop diner 20 minutes down Highway 49. That left me and my brother Eli, 16 and still soft in the face but trying hard not to be, running the farm alone most evenings. We were broke, tired, and barely holding the land together. But it wasn't until October that year that something else, something older and hungrier, decided to make its presence known. The strange thing started small, easy to explain, easy to ignore. At first, it began with Rust, our border collie. October 7th, I went to feed the horses and whistled for him like always. Usually he'd bolt across the field like his tail was on fire, but that day he just sat near the barn's edge and whined, his ears pinned back. He wouldn't go inside. Come on, boy, I called again, but he just barked once, sharp, and backed away like the barn had growled first. I brushed it off. Animals get spooked sometimes. Maybe a coyote got too close. But then came the jacket. October 9th. My favorite denim, fleece-lined, ripped at the elbow, wasn't on the porch chair where I left it. I found it folded perfectly, perched on the fence post by the pumpkin patch. Like someone went out of their way to be polite about stealing. Then on the 12th, Eli found his hunting knife stuck blade down in the biggest pumpkin we'd grown. That knife had belonged to our granddad, the kind you oil and keep in a velvet-lined case, not leave lying around. Dad just grunted and said, "Probably local kids screwing around." I wanted to believe him, but the closest family was the Crawfords, and they lived 2 miles down the gravel road. No one in Blackwater had gas to waste on pumpkin mischief. Still, it was harvest season. We had work to do. The corn was tall, the wheat was ready, and I figured weirdness came with the stress, until the weirdness started watching us back. On the 15th, just after midnight, I was halfway through washing the dinner pans when I heard what I thought were Eli's footsteps in the loft. But he was right there next to me, eating cold meatloaf with a spoon. I grabbed Dad's old hunting rifle and we crept toward the barn. Rust wouldn't go near the door again, just paced in a slow circle with his nose to the ground. Inside, the ladder rungs were damp with fresh mud. But it hadn't rained in days. We climbed up, found nothing. No raccoons, no birds, no signs of anything nesting. 2 days later, Rust disappeared, vanished for hours. When he came back just before sundown, his fur was matted with thick, dark goop. It wasn't blood. Smelled sweet, almost syrupy, but with something burnt underneath, like molasses and motor oil. I tried to wash it out, but it stuck to my hands, left a bitter film I couldn't shake. Then on the 19th, Mom's wedding ring, the only jewelry she ever wore, went missing from the kitchen windowsill. Later that afternoon, I found it clenched between the broken beak of a dead crow lying by the well. That was it. We borrowed a GoPro from Eli's friend at school, duct taped it to a support beam in the barn, set it to record every night. I wasn't sure what we'd find, but deep down I already knew something was wrong with the land. And whatever it wasn't finished with us. We watched the footage in the dark of the kitchen, huddled around my laptop with the sound turned down. Night 1, just wind. The rustle of the barn walls shifting, but near 3:12 a.m., a shape appeared at the edge of frame. Tall, lanky, hunched. It didn't move like a person. Night 2. The figure came back. This time it climbed up the rafters, joints moving wrong. Backward knees, one arm longer than the other. It crawled like a spider missing half its legs. Night 3. Nothing at first. Then the camera moved, not like it fell, but was turned deliberately, slowly, until it pointed at the house, at us, then static. Eli slammed the laptop shut. "We need to call someone," he said. "Who?" I asked. "Dad can't even climb stairs. Mom's gone till morning. You think the cops will show up for creepy footage and a dead bird?" He was quiet. Neither of us slept that night. Next morning, I went to the Blackwater Public Library, the only building with working heat. I dug through property records, local history binders, anything I could get my hands on. That's when I found the mention of Blackwater Asylum, a state-run psychiatric home that stood where our land now sat. It had burned down in 1923. Only 3 bodies recovered. The rest were presumed perished. But someone had kept a journal. The last entry read, "They've begun the harvest. Not food, not crops, the changelings. They come at night." That night I begged Dad to believe me. Showed him the journal copy I'd made, the footage, the crow, all of it. He just stared through me, eyes red-rimmed from pills and half a bottle of rye. "Old stories," he muttered. "You kids need sleep." Mom didn't come home that night. I'd later find out she slept in the diner office, too tired to face what we were becoming. So Eli and I went outside, stood at the edge of the field. The corn was too tall, waving though there was no wind. We brought gas, poured it in wide, lazy circles. My hands shook. Eli lit the first match. The fire climbed like it was hungry. The smoke smelled like wet hair and burning sugar. We never saw the thing up close. But through the heat shimmer, I swear I saw it. Long arms dragging behind it, head cocked like it was listening. And I swear I heard it laugh. We didn't wait. We ran. Didn't stop until the flames were gone and the field was ash. We sold the farm for almost nothing that November. Dad signed the deed with a hand that could barely hold a pen. We moved to Sudbury, into a 2-bedroom unit above a pawn shop that smelled like boiled cabbage. Mom left 6 months later, said she couldn't do it anymore. Dad's pills got worse. Eli turned 18 the next spring, joined the army, never wrote, never came back. And me? I started therapy, got a part-time job at a nursery, try to keep things green, alive, safe. But even now, years later, I check every window lock twice before bed, because small towns don't let go. And some things, they don't stay buried. We bury history, hoping it won't grow roots. But trauma, personal or shared, has a way of coming back, twisted and quiet. What we don't talk about becomes the thing that watches us. So speak it, face it, or it'll come for you in the corn, one dark October night. You don't notice how loud silence can be until the kids are gone. Our house, white colonial, 3 bedrooms, porch swing that never stops creaking, sits right at the edge of Hollow Gate Road, the last stretch of pavement before the woods swallow everything whole. It used to feel like privacy. Now it feels like the earth is pulling away from us. My name's Daniel Whitmore. I'm 52. Used to teach civics at Blackthorn High, until the school board pulled the plug on half the faculty and handed us pink slips and good lucks. My wife, Marianne, works long shifts at the clinic in town. She picks up extra hours because our son Ethan's diabetes treatments aren't cheap, and our other boy Liam's tuition sure isn't either. They're both off at college now, chasing futures we can't afford to follow. It was just the 2 of us in the house that October, me and Marianne, and the woods, and that knock. It was October 28th, just before midnight. I dozed off in the recliner with a glass of whiskey going warm in my hand, some true crime special whispering from the TV. I remember the narrator's voice talking about home invasions, which made what came next feel like fate laughing in my face. Bang, bang, bang. The front door shuddered under the weight of it. A girl's voice. "Please help me, he's chasing me." Marianne came out of the bedroom, phone already in her hand. "What the hell?" I stepped to the peephole. She looked 17, maybe younger, hair wet, jeans torn at the knees. A smear of something dark trailed from her ear down to her jaw. Her eyes were wrong, too wide, not scared, calculating. "I'm calling Sheriff Dawson," Marianne said. "No, no cops," the girl snapped almost too fast. Then came something I didn't notice at first. Her fingers tapping the doorframe. Steady, repeating, like a code. That's when I heard it. Footsteps. Around the back of the house. Then another set crunching leaves near the porch. This wasn't some girl in trouble, this was a setup, and we were the ones boxed in. I told Marianne, "Lock yourself in the bathroom, don't open the door till the sheriff comes." She didn't argue. She never does when my voice goes flat like that. I grabbed the old .22 rifle we kept above the fireplace. Unloaded, but it looked mean enough. I flipped the porch light on, stepped back toward the kitchen window. That's when the girl stopped knocking. Her voice changed, like she dropped the act, peeled off the panic like a cheap costume. "You should have just opened the door, old man," she said, soft and amused. I saw movement outside. A shadow ducked behind the garbage bins. Another by the woodshed. I shouted, "I've got a gun. Sheriff's on his way." She grinned, actually grinned, like she was enjoying the show. "He's not fast enough." I don't know what they planned. Home invasion, kidnapping, maybe worse. But I do know this. I used to teach kids like her. I recognized her face. Her name was Callie Nix. Used to sit in the back of my 3rd period class, never turned in homework, but knew exactly how to make people uncomfortable. I had sent her to the office once for carving something into her desk with a pair of scissors. Now she was at my door with company. The minutes felt like hours. The house creaked. I thought I heard someone try the back door. The doorknob jiggled. And then, headlights. But no sirens. Sheriff Dawson knew better. Marianne had texted him to come quiet. The cruiser rolled up slow. Just 2 guys bolted from the bushes, hoodies, boots pale in the dash lights. Callie hissed at me, then spat on the welcome mat. "You were always too soft. Should have opened the damn door." Then she was gone, sprinting for the trees. Sheriff Dawson and his deputy caught her a mile down the road. The other 2 ran but didn't get far. They found zip ties, a crowbar, and a syringe in the back of their pickup. Said it was for breaking and entering. I guess that's what we call planned terror now. They'd hit 3 homes already that month, all older couples, all on isolated roads. Blackthorn doesn't make the news. It's too quiet, too picturesque. But under the red leaves and white porches is a kind of rot no one likes to admit. Callie got probation. First offense, they said, even though her juvenile record stretched 3 counties wide. Her uncle? Back inside for 8 months. He'll be out by spring. Marianne sleeps with the lights on now, every night. She locks the bedroom twice. Me? I sit by the living room window with an aluminum bat across my lap. Not the gun. That was just for show. I think about how many faces from my past I taught to read, write, multiply, and how little good that did. Ethan and Liam begged us to move closer to them, but we're broke, we're tired, and we're stuck. The mortgage doesn't forgive you just because you're afraid. Halloween came and went. No trick-or-treaters, not out here. Just wind through the trees and the porch swing rocking like someone sitting in it. I started hearing things at night. Leaves brushing the siding. A knock, I imagine, even when it's not there. Every once in a while, I think I see her, that girl, standing at the end of the driveway, staring, just staring. I blink, and it's just the woods. Funny thing about small towns, everybody knows your business, but nobody knows what's hiding in your woods. The real dangers aren't always strangers in the dark. They're the people we raised, the lives we overlooked, the cracks in the system we chose to ignore. Small towns raise kids just like anywhere else, and sometimes they come back, but not as children, not anymore. If you ever drive through Hollow's End, don't blink. You'll miss it. It's the kind of place that looks frozen in time, except time kept going and left it behind. The only grocery stores got flickering lights and expired milk. Half the storefronts are boarded up. The rest sell lottery tickets, off-brand soda, and dust. We moved here in 2012, after Dad's factory in Pittsburgh shut down. He didn't say much when it happened, just packed our stuff and told me to help him carry the microwave. Mom cried quietly when she thought we couldn't hear. My little sister Lily kept asking if we were going on vacation. She didn't understand what losing everything really meant. I was 15. I understood too much. We ended up in a 2-bedroom duplex that smelled like mildew and regret, parked near the old train yard. Dad tried day jobs, warehouse, repair work, whatever was going, but nothing stuck. Mom picked up shifts at Mel's Diner, the only place open past 8. That left me to walk Lily home from school, make her boxed mac and cheese, and wash her bed sheets when she wet the bed again. I didn't fit in at Hollow's End High. Too scrawny, too quiet, too Pittsburgh. They called me city boy like it was a slur. I had asthma, old sneakers, and a head full of fantasy novels. My only escape was scribbling stories in a torn notebook I kept in my backpack, pages fraying at the corners. And then came Tyler Briggs. When Tyler noticed you, it wasn't a good thing. It meant something bad was about to happen. He smiled at me once, not friendly, just that kind of grin that says, "I've picked you." And everything changed. It was a Thursday when Tyler called out to me, "Hey, Pittsburgh, you ever seen The Trestle?" I was standing by my locker, flipping through an old copy of The Hobbit. He said it like we were friends, like we were equals. His gang circled him. Kayla, with her raccoon eyeliner and sneer, and Mitch, the silent mountain who followed him around like a guard dog. They all stared at me like I'd passed some invisible test. "Want to come after school tomorrow?" Kayla said, popping her gum. "We bring beer. Do dares. Bet you won't jump." The Trestle was Hollow's End's worst-kept secret. A busted-up railroad bridge stretching 30 feet over Blackwater Creek. Rotting wood, rusted rails, and maybe 4 feet of dirty water below. The older kids used to party there, sometimes jump off. A few broke bones. A kid lost his foot in the 90s. But stories fade, and kids are stupid. I didn't know what to say. Part of me screamed no, the smarter part. But the rest? The lonely, humiliated part that ate lunch alone and prayed to disappear. That part wanted in. Tyler slapped me on the back. Cool, you're in. That night, I could barely breathe. Not from the asthma, from the weight of maybe belonging. But the next day, Wes Holloway cornered me after 6th period. Most kids called him Gremlin or Trash Rat, but I knew he was smarter than any of them. He tinkered with broken phones, sold fixed radios online. Poor like the rest of us, but meaner in a quiet, broken way. He grabbed my arm. His eyes were wild. Don't go. I heard him talking. Tyler said someone's gonna get tossed, said it's a joke, it ain't. I stared at him. You think they'd pick Mitch? He asked. Or Kayla. You're the new chew toy, Mercer. He let go and walked off. And that night, when I stood at the edge of the woods and heard that cruel laughter echoing from the trestle, I ran. They ignored me after that. Tyler's crew, I mean. Like I didn't exist anymore. Kayla tossed a crumpled soda can at my head in the hall. Oops, she smirked. Mitch shoulder-checked me into a locker and kept walking. I thought maybe they'd punish me worse for not showing. But indifference cuts deeper than bruises sometimes. Then came Noah Carter, skinny, awkward, stuttering Noah. He wore old man sweaters from Goodwill and smiled like he was apologizing for it. He transferred in 2 weeks after the trestle night, and Tyler found him. First it was fake nice. Tyler helped him pick up books he'd dropped. Kayla linked arms with him in the cafeteria, whispering things that made him blush. Mitch loomed behind him like a friendly shadow. It was the same pattern. I knew it. One day I saw Noah trip in the hallway, face slamming hard against the floor. Blood, laughter. Kayla with her phone out filming. He laughed too, a weird, forced chuckle like he thought it was part of some twisted game. And I stood there, watching, fists clenched, saying nothing. 2 weeks passed. Leaves turned red and gold, falling like old memories across the tracks. Then came the tape. Yellow police ribbon stretched across the path to the trestle. A cruiser parked near the brush. Rumors flew faster than truth in Hollow's End. Noah was missing. 2 days later they found him, half buried in the mud under Blackwater Creek. Neck broken. The sheriff said it was an accident. Kids partying, he slipped. Happens. At the memorial they put a photo of Noah on his empty desk, a candle, some dumb poem printed off the internet. Wes sat next to me in the back row. He didn't cry. He just handed me a folded piece of paper and looked away. Inside it said, "Saw him that night." Tyler dared him. Said water was deep. Noah believed him. I threw up in the boys' bathroom. Because that should have been me. By spring, Tyler was gone. His house was empty, windows boarded up. Word was his parents skipped town. Foreclosure papers fluttered in the breeze. Kayla tried to stay queen bee, but without Tyler, the throne was empty. Mitch transferred out. The crew unraveled. And me? I disappeared in a different way. No more friends to lose. No more hope to cling to. Except Wednesday. We started eating lunch behind the gym, where no one bothered us. He taught me how to fix busted speakers, old radios. We sold stuff online, stashing the money in a coffee can under his bed labeled Get Out Fund. We didn't talk about Noah much, but we always knew. Some nights I sat by the creek, notebook in hand. I wrote stories where the quiet kids got powers, where the weird ones lived, where the bridge never took anyone. Years passed. I got out, journalism degree, a job in Philly, writing pieces nobody reads about towns nobody visits. One Tuesday, a postcard showed up on my desk. It was a picture of a greasy motorcycle, parked in front of a garage with the sign Wes's Custom Works. On the back, just one line. Still think about Noah. We got lucky. I stared at it for a long time. My phone buzzed beside me. Still wrapped in the cracked case Wes fixed back in 10th grade. Some kids don't survive the fall. Some kids never make it off the trestle. And some, they crawl out bloodied but breathing. Sometimes the ones we ignore are the only ones telling the truth. The need to belong can blind you to danger, but real friends don't come with conditions. Listen to the quiet voices. They're often the only ones trying to save you.